yo. What's up, guys? Good morning. All right, so just quickly going through a top-down analysis. Look at NQ right now. We had a massive weekly rejection here. The zero point 0.2, zero point 0.25, zero point 0.3, and the zero point 0.5 Fibonacci's all got swept through. And immediately, I mean, I know this is a sell program, so the things that I'm focusing on are all the internal lows. So in this case, on the daily, I'm looking at this daily low, and then on NQ at the lower point, I'm looking at the daily low that formed on August 1st. And also, something I want to point out, guys, we have a very obvious fair value gap here on the 4-hour chart. So if you draw this out right here, there is a 4-hour fair value gap, and resting in this 4-hour gap, there are two sets of perfect equal lows. Two sets in here. So these are definitely going to be draws in liquidity. Now, whether or not they hit today, I don't know for sure, but I think that those will be a strong draw. If I had to guess. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, perfect. Also, so you guys know, today is FOMC meeting minutes, so we're probably going to get some kind of retracement midday, maybe even in the morning, and then maybe we get a bigger move later today. I will note already though, we've had a pretty big move already, so be super careful with your portfolios. Don't chase price down here, because we can easily randomly push back up and stop a bunch of people out, and then we get another move later on. So just be super careful. I will not be trading. I mean, I'm probably not going to take a position until FOMC minutes start, and that's at 11. So we'll have to see. If there's an A+ setup, then maybe I'll take something earlier, but realistically, I'm probably going to wait until that 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock time. Crazy. It's like immediate rejections here. This is that 4-hour gap, and the equal lows again are right here in this area. So if this ends up running through all of this without any retracements, that'll be crazy, but it can easily happen. But let's just be patient and wait for something. And surprisingly, my portfolio is not doing too bad. I mean, my Nike position is green on the day. ASML was green, now it's red, but I haven't had that much of a loss in my portfolio over the last few days. Just Tesla has been the one that's dropped. But even that, it's not too bad. Okay, hold on. Oh, I have to log into my Apex. Hold on one second, guys. Hold on one second. While I log into this. All right, we're back. Okay, so it looks like we're probably going to come down and sweep this low. Again, I'm not 100% sure. It's FOMC meeting minutes, so be careful because we can easily retrace first. But yeah, it's definitely possible that we go down here and then maybe we get a reversal intraday. I'm looking at this swing high. That's pretty important to me. And then just below it, this fair value gap is also going to be pretty important. So let's see if we do get the dump here. If we do and we get some kind of a retracement setup, that'll be nice as well. I know, Tristan. I was just saying, it's my portfolio actually has not been experiencing that much volatility. Tesla has dumped quite a bit. That's my main loser. But for example, Nike, which is also a pretty sizable position for me, it's up on the day. So I have a lot of hedges too. I have some covered calls. Those are things that we called in the Discord, obviously, but those are all hedges. I have VIX calls. A lot of different things that are helping my portfolio out. Damn. Yeah, any shorts today would hold, obviously. I think there's going to be an intraday reversal, though. I'm going to guess that we do get some kind of reversal. And then for meeting minutes at 11 or 2 p.m. Eastern, sorry, I think that we'll get more volatility today. But I will let you guys know again, there's a 4 hour fair value gap here. You can see it. And there are two sets of equal lows within here. I'm not going to draw them out because I'd have to go back to the 1 minute and start drawing them, but I have them automatically drawn with another indicator on another chart. So these are going to be a target, hopefully, for today. I think they will hit today. Let me see something quick. Yeah, I think they're going to hit today. And if that does happen, then I think tomorrow will be a big sell day as well. I think we might have. So, how many days is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we end up closing down here today, and I'll point out exactly where on QQQ, if we end up closing the day between 558.95 and 558.61, or 557.63 and 557.20, within either of those two ranges, and it kind of chops within it, I can tell you with a high degree of certainty that the next day will also be a strong red day. Don't ask me how I know that. I'm not going to reveal that, but there's a very high chance if we do close today at those levels that we're going to have a very strong sell day tomorrow as well. So keep that in mind. Yeah, this looks like this could possibly be a reversal spot. Not gonna lie. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Realistically, I'm probably gonna wait for this 4 hour to get swept before touching anything. But I think that this fair value gap is probably going to hit in the next few minutes, and then maybe go higher after that. That's my guess here. And then from there, who knows? But again, I think these two fair value gaps. Why is it drawing things on my chart here. I think these two are probably going to hit here. Again, there's no setup, but that's my guess. And then we'll see what happens from there. So maybe we'll get a rejection from it. We'll see. Is there any volume imbalances here on the 1 minute? There is a tiny volume imbalance right here where we are. Just a heads up. But I don't think that will matter, personally. What's Tristan saying yesterday? Hold on 1 second, guys. Yesterday and so far today, market open has made the high for the day. I would have held my short, but Loki, I wanted to see a bigger wick to be put in for the day. What was your short setup, Tristan? If we go back to the 1 minute chart, I'm assuming you took this once we closed back below the 1 minute. I mean, not even the close. Maybe you saw the momentum here and you took the short. Look at the hourly chart on ES. Let's take a look quick. You're taking a short into this little hourly here? Got you, Tristan. Yeah, so it looks like this is now doing the retracement that I just called out. I think it's probably going to go higher. So, I mean, I'm looking at both of these fair value gaps here. These are both imbalances that should be retested. And then maybe what we get, this would be awesome. If we get some kind of a full-blown retracement today, sweep through all this, then maybe consolidate, get some kind of a manipulation leg, and then continuation down for meeting minutes. So if we can get something like this, that would be incredible. If I can get this set up, this is definitely something I would take 10 out of 10 times. And again, the target would be this 4-hour fair value gap. If you want to look at it visually, it's this right here. And within that 4-hour fair value gap, there are plenty of equal lows. So I would like to see some kind of a equal low setup. Yeah. You're the only person that I speak to, Tristan, that plays ES. But if it makes you money, it makes you money. I think the movement on ES is a little poorer than NQ, but you can still get some nasty moves, especially when there's volatility like that. Yeah, it does move slower. I guess that is a psychological thing that helps some people for sure. Personally, I like the I like NQ because there's a lot more opportunity to move your stop to break even. If you look at ES, this is what I don't like about ES. So, for example, if I'm shorting ES on the 1 minute chart, the points, like the point to candle ratio is very small. So, if I was to move my stop here, for example, the tick is it's a big space. So, pretty much if I like to keep my stops very tight sometimes, so if I enter here and we make a new high, I move my stop to break even, and it's very likely ES will come back and retap this if, let's say, I longed here, for example. Versus NQ, the spacing between candles, the tick value is a lot smaller, so it's easier to move your stops to break even quicker. And oftentimes, if you're right and the move goes in your direction, it goes and it goes for a while. So it just depends on your preference, your psychology, things like that. But I prefer NQ. And yeah, I guess you could trade more size. So again, what could happen here? There is a possibility. It's possible that this is where we reject from and we continue into this 4 hour gap. But what I think because it's FOMC meeting minutes today, they're not just going to deliver the market cleanly all the way down. I think they're trying to manipulate people into it. They're going to come back, probably sweep this internal high, and maybe we get a setup above this internal high. That's my thesis today. So I'm paying attention to this internal high on the day. Once this hits, my focus will go back to shorts. NQ would usually have 5 micros. ES I'll do 10 micros. Yeah. That's understandable. I get it. There was a point where I did trade ES, but I just realized that for me, NQ was a better performer. But again, everyone is different. And I don't just use inverse fair value gaps. I have a self-developed method, a model that uses Fibonacci's, but and it works on ES and NQ, but it works better on NQ, I've found. So I think all this is manipulation. I think we're going back above this buy side today. So pay attention to this high here. And then once we do, again, I'd look for some kind of a short setup within here. We could even come back and come close to midnight today. Possibly. Said, oh, yo, yo, yo. Ooh, okay, so this, I'm not gonna lie, this looks pretty nice. If we can inverse this 5 minute to the upside, and we actually had if you guys remember, the last time I went live with you guys on YouTube, which was on Monday, I believe. Let's go back and check Monday. Tuesday. Was it Monday? Yes, it was. So we had a 5 minute fair value gap that looked relatively similar to this here. And I told you guys that this is probably going to fail. And the reason being was because it was a no news Monday with consolidation. So this ended up pushing higher. And I told you guys that this is probably an optimal spot to go short. And we ended up retracing all the way past that 5 minute and it ended up failing. So this 5 minute ended up failing. But I think this one is more likely to succeed. And there's a few reasons for that. Number one, we're in heavy discount of the range. Number two, we have FOMC meeting minutes today, and normally they drive the market low or high. Then they manipulate to the opposite direction, stop out traders who are short, and then the real move happens later on. So in my view today, I think that this 5 minute should inverse, and once it does, I think this buy side will get taken out. We'll target this new week opening gap. We'll maybe come back and rebalance some of these fair value gaps here, and then we'll get a short setup later. So if they do leave this 4 hour low, you can see it right here. If they leave this, and then we get this 5 minute inversion, again, because we're in discount of the range, it's cleaner, it's larger, there's a very obvious buy side still in discount, this is where I think the market's likely to draw. But if we inverse this and this has already been swept, it'll be even better. If we don't sweep this and we inverse it, I think it'll still be fine. Either way, I think it'll still target this high before continuing lower. And it will be even more likely to me if we don't sweep this, if we come close to it, we reject basically or reverse, and then we target it later. So I'm just waiting. Pretty much right now, that's my thesis. I'm looking for that 5 minute to get filled. Also, if you notice, we didn't fully fill the 1 minute here. We have a huge 1 minute. We came up about halfway, and then we rejected. So that tells me that we're likely to go higher here, especially if this inverses. So let's say we get this inversion right here. Close above, that's your stop to break even, and then you can actually hold this as your 5 minute inversion setup. Also, let's check for SMTs here, because this is where we'd want to see one. Yeah, there is actually an SMT right now. Look at ES. ES is making a lower low, and NQ is making a higher low. So if this holds and then we inverse this 1 minute gap, I think that will be a nice target. Also, we just got a set of triple equal highs here. But yeah. Also, is it macro time starts at 10:50, so they might stall this until 10:50. That's possible too, 18 minutes from now. But that's what I'm looking at. I want to see if this SMT holds, if we can inverse this 1 minute. Technically, we do have 2 1 minutes in this, so you could wait for both. But what I would probably do in this situation is take this 1 minute inversion, and as soon as it closes above, I would just keep a hard stop realistically on this. What's up, Andre? So yeah, just what I would say my learning lesson for today is, okay, let's pull it up. Forexfactory.com. Everybody, if you don't use this, make sure you're using this. It is so key to your success. Just pay attention to when we have red folder news, specifically if we have FOMC, if we have an FOMC meeting or FOMC meeting minutes, which happens at 11 o'clock typically Eastern, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock my time. If you see this type of red folder news, it says FOMC in it, be prepared for intraday reversals. Why they do that is because the move for FOMC meetings specifically are normally very large, so they want to create liquidity to the buy side and the sell side of the market. So what they're doing is that they're inducing traders to go short. They reverse the market, stop everybody out, then sometimes they'll manipulate the market during the meeting and then reverse it again and then deliver to where they were supposed to deliver during the morning session. So just pay attention for like obvious delivery in one direction. In today's case, we're looking at obvious downside delivery. So for FOMC meeting minutes, likely they reverse the market sometime in the morning session, stop out a bunch of traders who are short. In this case, this high right here is very obvious to me. I think this is going to get stopped out, and this high is very obvious to me. So these are 2 buy side liquidity targets that I think will hit. Hope that makes sense. Rumors are that Powell's going to say they aren't sure about doing any rate cuts, at least from what one of the Top Step guys said. The Top Step videos, bro. Let's look at rate cut probabilities here. Okay, so the September meeting is in 28 days. And right now, we are looking at an 84% chance of a rate cut in September. 50-50 for October. So 84% is, I think it was at 90% at one point earlier this week. Maybe unemployment. I don't know what happened that spooked this, but I think this was higher than 84%. But yeah, I think realistically, unemployment is ticking up, and I think we are probably going to cut rates with a high degree of certainty. 242 area for sale dump from up. 24242. Only one I listen to is Jack. I haven't really watched any Top Step TV. Maybe we'll do that one day, but I typically don't use their advice, or wouldn't. But yeah, if there's one person that you've developed a liking to and there's credibility behind them, then sure. By the way, guys, volatility is really high today, so if you are an option seller, I think today is a pretty good day to start selling options. One of the stocks that I'm looking at is CoreWeave. I don't know if you guys know what this is, but this is like a high probability, a high risk play. But they're now working with NVIDIA, and they're finally, and Microsoft are their biggest customers, and they're finally rebalancing this weekly fair value gap that I've been paying attention to. You can see it right here. There is another one below that, but we're already in discount of the range from low to high. You can see we're far past discount, so this is a spot where I'd want to add this for the long term. If you want to sell puts, let's take a look at CoreWeave right now. Again, I know that for some of you guys that's a lot of money, and I mean it is a lot of money, especially for a high risk company. Selling 100 or buying 100 shares of this by selling puts, you're looking at an $8,600 investment per contract. But for 30 days out, you can sell the 86 puts for almost $1,000. That's pretty darn good. Well, there's not even an 86. There's an 87.5 put for 865. There's an 85 put for 720. There's a 90 put for 1,005. So those are all really good in my view. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. CoreWeave is a good one. I mean, if you want to start selling puts on AMD, I mean, I think now is probably, oops, I don't want to do it on this chart. I think right now AMD is a pretty good one. Tesla, I mean, at 317, I don't think you can go wrong selling puts on this company, personally. Amazon, we're starting to see a rejection here. If we can fill this daily gap, this is a spot where I'm going to be adding Amazon for the long term. From here, that is a 11% move. So if we can get a 10.8, 11% decline on Amazon to fill this daily gap, weekly gap and daily gap, this is going to be an A+ spot for long-term ads, in my view. AMD I'm paying attention to, SOXL I'm paying attention to, Tesla, NVIDIA I'm paying attention to. PanW is another one, but we're obviously up on the day. We had a decent earnings report. I want to see if we can leave this gap unfilled. So there's a daily gap here on PanW. Let's label it here. So if this remains unfilled and we end up coming down lower than this level, I'm going to start buying this for the long term too. Yeah, not pretty much it for long-term positions. Let's take a look at NQ, see what we're doing here. If ES inverses a 5-minute here with SMTL long, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's an A+ spot. Still holding the SMT. Another thing I would be fine with seeing is a manipulation move down and then another 1-minute inversion. So if we get this, that's another setup, and I would target this buy side. TP1 right here, TP2 right here. So if we can get this setup, I don't know why, oh, the magnet tool's on. So if we can get an inversion fair value gap here, we'd long here. So you guys see how I know exactly what I'm looking for before it happens? TP1. So I can tell you right now, you're probably not going to be profitable until you can see your setup, your model, and see exactly what you're going to execute on. So unless I see this, I'm not executing on a 1-minute long. But if we do get it, that would be awesome. And I'm sorry, I will execute on a long if we get the 5-minute inversion as well, but this would be even more optimal, what I just drew out. Careful, I saw Wall Street Bets Reddit talking about CoreWeave. Uh-oh. Again, guys, CoreWeave, I'm just explaining right now, that is a very small position for me. I'm talking about like 1% of my portfolio, if that. And if it ends up growing into something massive in the future, that 1% might turn into 4%, 5%, 10% at the best. So it's not like something that it's not something I'm betting the farm on, if that makes sense. I'm singing, oh, we, oh, we, oh, we, oh. I want to scream and shout and let it all. So another thing you can pay attention. The SMT is now broken with ES and NQ. Just a heads up. But another thing you can look for here is, like for example, I'm looking at this 4-hour low. Sometimes what they'll do on a day like today is they'll bring the market 1 or 2 ticks close to this to try and get people to induce people short, and then they'll just full blown reverse the market. So that's something I'm also going to look for. Oops. So like right now, this could be the spot where this reverses. And then your TP, I mean your stop to break even would be the equal highs. But again, there's no model here, so I can't execute. So I wanted to see a big red down close candle, almost like a manipulation candle. We didn't get it. You see how we're kind of like wicking and not creating fair value gaps here? I don't love that. Let me look at the 2-minute and the 3-minute quick. 2-minute, wow. 3-minute. There's a pretty nice looking 3-minute inversion here, which tells me as well that we'll probably come back to, at minimum, rebalance that 3-minute. So you can see that this box right here is where the market's likely to go, and then we have the equal highs there as well. So this is definitely a strong spot for an intraday reversal in my view. Again, I would love to see, like for example, if we come really close to this and then immediately wick higher, that is something I would take. Small size, but something I would take for sure. I want to scream and shout and let it all out. So for those of you guys who are just tuning in, maybe, I don't know, remember we thought there was an SMT here with ES, but you can see that now both indices are creating a lower low. So now, I mean, I would love to see, if I can see a big red candle here that comes really close to that 4-hour and then immediately an up move, this would be a good setup in my view. High risk to reward. Stop loss at that internal low. Take profit up at this buy side. That's a 6-to-1 RR trade, which I do love. And scream and shout and let it out. So I need to see it come a little lower than that, maybe sweep this internal low and then see the move. And then again, this buy side would be my take profit, and then you could also TP here if you want. If you want the most high probability setup, I mean, you could target these equal highs if you wanted to. But one thing I will say, guys, I've said this so many times on stream, but most people, one of the main reasons they're not profitable is they sit down on the computer like me in the morning, and they're itching. They want to take a trade. They want to click buttons. So they click the button. I'm not even kidding. When I first started trading, by this point in the market, I would have probably clicked the button 40 times. No joke. Probably 40 times. And either I was barely break even or like slightly in profit, or lost my ass entirely. And then by the time the actual setup plays out in the market later on, I have my account is blown, or I've hit my max loss for the day, which, I mean, at that point, a max loss didn't even exist for me. I was just like, all right, well, let's just keep trading. But now, I mean, if you have a prop firm or if you have cash accounts, you can actually set max losses that hit, and then you're forced to not trade. So that's even, honestly, is a pretty bad feeling too. But if you were that kind of person, if you were just patient and waited for the real setup, now you're seeing the real setup and you're like, damn, I don't have any capital to trade this with. So it just sucks even more because A, you blew your account or you hit your max loss. And now you're seeing the setup that you should be executing on and you have so much more confidence in it than anything else you've seen for the whole day. But by this point, you can't even hit the button because you've lost your ass. So that's just something I've learned over time too. Okay, so again, what am I looking for a super high RR play here? I'm looking for the market to come very close to this 4-hour sell side. You can see it visually here. And if we miss it by a few ticks and immediately see an upside move, that is something I would execute on. Okay, so we swept through it. So this is already something I'm not loving, but if this inverses, then this is another setup I would like to see. So if we get an IFEG here, this would be a good spot to go long in my view. Let's see how the next 2 minutes play out. Am I getting Discord notifications? Okay, so it doesn't look like we're going to form an inversion here, unfortunately. I wanted to see a cleaner one. I want to scream and shout and let it all out. Yeah, that kind of sucks. So no inversion forming here. If we do close above this high, though, I do think that's another good setup to target the equal highs. So unfortunately, again, no inversion gap playing out here. I still think this will probably end up coming back up and sweeping these equal highs. We'll see, though. Saying, oh, yo. I want to scream and shout and let it all out. So really what I want to see again is a closure above this internal high. If we can get that, then these equal highs are next. That's my take on this. I want to scream and shout and let it all out. And scream and shout and let it out. ES and NQ down the exact same percentage. That is pretty wild. Okay, what's up? Good morning, bro. I was looking for an inversion gap here, but I'm not getting anything. So I'm not loving that, but hopefully we get some kind of a setup here. I'm going to guess they don't give us a setup and they just reverse the market to target the equal highs, but we'll see. So another sweep of that 4-hour low. So if they're going to reverse the market, I think they're going to do it here. Somewhere here. And again, the thesis behind this is that we have FOMC meeting minutes later, and that is going to be what ends up driving us lower. So maybe we get a reversal intraday. By the way, there is an SMT on the 1 minute on ES and NQ right now. Look at ES, it's making a lower high, NQ's making a lower low. Sorry, ES is making a higher low, NQ's making a lower low. So I hope they reverse it here. But again, there's just no model, so I can't execute on this. But now this is just pure speculation. And scream and shout and let it out. Okay, I'm trying to take a position on the wick of a 4-hour candle, but I could not do that. I don't know what I am missing. What do you mean you couldn't do it? Okay, so I'm going to try on MNQ here. This is, again, very high risk, but I think the risk reward is great on this. I'm going to try a long setup here, and my stop is going to be at the internal low. So this is my stop loss right here. It's a hard stop. And I'm going to take my profits at this internal buy side, I think. Again, guys, I'm fully expecting to lose this trade. If it loses, it's fine. It's basically a trade expecting that we're going to not sweep the perfect equal lows here on NQ. So I'm waiting to see what happens here, but this could potentially be the reversal spot. Very high risk, guys. If this high gets hit, then we're going to have to move our stop to break even. But I'll probably do it even sooner. So like if maybe these 3 highs get hit, 1, 2, 3. Very, very high risk trade. Again, super high risk. What I'll probably do is take a partial. If it ends up working, I'll take a partial here at the equal highs. And then I'll take a partial here. I don't know, maybe in this fair value gap. And then last but not least, I'll take a partial here. Again, very high risk. Okay, he says, I'm trying to take a position. Oh, no, I mean, when I take... Oh, let's see if this gets stopped out. Hold on. Oh, hold on. My stop is not below it. Just a tick below it, I think. I'll leave it. I mean, when I take a trade, thinking it's the wick of the candle, it comes to my stop loss. I'm not understanding. What model are you taking, Kay? Okay, so I think this is probably where it goes, my guess. So if these two internal highs get swept, I'm going to move my stop to break even on this trade. Again, guys, this is basically a super high risk play on a 50K account. So I'm only taking this with 3 micros. And if it ends up ripping, that's awesome. This is one of my newer 50K accounts. This is, I believe, an Apex account. So no need to be taking this with large size. If you guys are in this trade and you're really risk averse, I would move my stop to break even if that high hits. There is a little volume imbalance here on NQ. Wow, big dump there. All right, guys, I'm moving my stop to break even here. I don't like this movement. I think if it's going to go, it's going to do it now. So I'm in this. It's a free trade. And I think that all this buy side's probably coming now. Gun to my head. Again, guys, I don't want to size heavily on this because, again, it's a 50K account. It was a very high risk play. I told you guys exactly what I was expecting beforehand, and yeah. So we'll see if this ends up delivering. I think it should. You guys are watching me do this live on a live account. I don't normally do this, but we'll see if I end up getting stopped out. Again, it's a free trade, so it doesn't matter what happens here. And I told you guys already the thesis behind this was that we have perfect equal lows right here. So they're trying to induce people short and then probably bring the market higher. Again, if I get stopped out, I get stopped out, but it is what it is. We do, again, have a volume imbalance here that I think is probably going to be used as support. If this internal high gets hit, guys, I will move my stop to the 50% of this wick. So if you draw this out, 50% is right there. So again, my stop is at break even, but if this holds, then I'm going to move my stop right below the 50% of this wick. So meaning if we go up here like this, then I'm going to move my stop loss to break even here, so I'm in profit, and then we'll hold the runners, or hold the position. So what I'm looking for here is if they're going to sweep this, I want to see this low get swept one more time on the 1101 candle, and then hopefully the move higher after that. So right there is where I'd want to see the low be. If it's not, then obviously I'm wrong. Okay, I'm going to move my stop loss right here. Beautiful execution there. So we should see this high get swept now. Yeah, I want to see a candle closure above this high. Once we get that, I'll move my stop loss to right here so that I'm in even higher profit, maybe 50 bucks for this account. You guys see how I'm dynamically moving my stops too? So and I told you guys this was a high risk play. So congrats to those who are executing. And again, TP1 is going to be those perfect equal highs above us. TP2 is going to be the top of this fair value gap in case we get a reversal. TP3 will be that internal buy side. Really, I might want to just leave my runner to up here. Maybe I'll do that. But hopefully we even get continuation here. What I did like about this trade as well, I did put on a decent amount of risk for a 50K account, 3 micros, but because my stop was a hard stop and it was really small, I was only risking about 120 bucks to potentially make 400 or 500 on this trade if it ends up going cleanly delivering. Okay, so if this internal high, like I said before, if this gets swept, then I will move my stop to the 50% of this wick. Okay, beautiful. So I'm now going to move my stop just a little higher here. And I want to see clean delivery to the equal highs, and then I want to see this go higher. Type 1 if you're learning something from this. Type 2 if this is all nonsense to you. You guys see how I'm moving my stop losses? I'm basically changing risk. Now my risk is, I have like an infinity RR right here. Which is pretty wild, but You can see there is a little 1 minute gap here that is rejecting. Just keep that in mind. And again, what's my target? Target 1 is the triple equal highs here, or whatever they are. I think they're triples. No, they're double equal highs. So that's TP1. And I called this beforehand. I literally told you guys exactly why I took the trade. It was a high risk, high reward play. It's that simple. And then TP1 obviously is the equal highs, and then we'll see what happens from there. If you guys want, you can take profits here, because if they really want to F the market over, they'll bring it really close to the equal highs and they'll reject. Okay, so there's TP1. Changing my stop here. I'm going to put my stop loss up higher, so below this volume imbalance. TP2, again, is going to be the top of this 1 minute gap. Yeah, how wild is that, guys? I literally, live, I literally picked the bottom. It's just like, make sure you give it a like, guys. If you understand what, like, this is what I'm talking about when I say, like, having a lot of experience in the market. I know it's an FOMC meeting minutes day. I know that they like to generate liquidity. What am I looking for? I'm looking for equal lows in the market. There were perfect equal lows literally right here. So what I did is I took a high risk play when I saw a green candle, put my stop as a hard stop right below, and just let it run. And then I'm just delivering the market to the highest probability areas. In my view, it's the top of this 1 minute fair value gap. And then I'm just going to leave runners all the way up. If this ends up pushing like crazy before FOMC meeting minutes, awesome. And then as soon as that high gets hit, I'm going to look for, I'm going to keep my stop there, but I'm going to move it. I'm going to change this from a 2 to a 1 so that I'm at least booking more profits here. And, sorry, not booking more profits, managing risk. Because if this ends up reversing against me and this still says 2, then obviously my contract, I'm going to end up shorting one contract, which I wouldn't want. Where's my line tool? Just want to make sure that I'm in the right spot for this sell. Okay, so I'm actually wrong here. I need to move this down slightly. 1 tick. And then, yeah. We're going to change this to a 1 as soon as that hits, if it does. Boom! All right, guys, let's go. All right, so we're now in this with one more contract. Now, this is the beautiful part about trading this type of thing. If I get stopped out on this, I'm going to book about $70 in profit. That's about a 50% reversion here. If this ends up hitting, this is going to end up being a massive trade. So it's just beautiful. Now I get to sit. I'm going to go make a cup of coffee. You guys can all watch. And if it ends up hitting, it ends up hitting. Like, yeah. So I think, I guess another lesson you can learn from this is once you have enough experience in the market where you know that something like this is likely to happen again. Right now, I could easily get stopped out for break even on this. I don't know if they're going to push it cleanly like this. They could easily come back down, try and stop people out. There's not really any inversions here. So I think there is a higher chance that this cleanly delivers into these gaps here because there was no real chance to enter this trade. The only real chance to enter was really this order block. And in fact, if we really want, we can keep our stop. No, I'm just going to book the 70 just in case. This will be an interesting short if you make it one. I don't think this is going to be a short. Again, could I be wrong? Absolutely. But I'm basically banking on clean delivery. The reason why I think this will cleanly deliver here is because nobody really got a really good inversion play here. So my guess is that this is going to drive us higher. Then maybe they come really close to this buy side, drop it back down here. I don't know. Oh, if I make a YouTube short? I've tried making shorts. Like sometimes I'll privately record my trades and put it in a short, and I'll say like $2,000 long on NQ or $2,000 short on NQ, and it gets way less traction than my basic. This is how to create. I'm going to show you guys how to make $1,000 or $4,000 a week using a line in a box, and then I like make my inversion plays. But those my actual live account trades where I'm showing people like catching the bottom and then like taking profits at all the TPs, those don't get as much traction. It's very interesting. Not sure why. Okay, so there's a little 1 minute here, just a heads up. This could be where we reverse from. Again, the beautiful part about this here is that, actually, is there? Yeah, there is. There's a tiny little 1 minute here. Do not get this. Do not sleep on this. These are the fuckers that end up rejecting you. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come up one more time into here and then get some kind of reversion. Like maybe we tag this 1 minute and then we reverse to fill this. And then we go up later. That could easily be the model that happens here. So watch this little tiny little 1 minute IFEG. Let's see if we get the rejection from that wick. Don't sleep on these. These little pieces of shit right here. This is what ends up wrecking people sometimes. So if you guys don't believe there's an algorithm, I mean, just look how we perfectly reject from this. Again, because we didn't have any inversion plays here, could this end up getting swept through easily? Sure. I think this is probably the more likely scenario, though. President Donald Trump bought bonds of UNH. Did anybody hear about that? Let me just take a look at UNH real quick on that news. UNH not doing shit. Do you guys... Okay, so those of you guys who are watching this, if you don't believe there's an algorithm, what is going on here? Please enlighten me. Why? I called out a tiny little fair value gap here. Why is it rejecting from here? Please enlighten me. How is it that there's no algorithm in the markets? If this... How is somebody able to call something like this? How is somebody able to call something like this before it happens? Do you think that the market is free? I don't. Oh, UNH got to be a pump and dump. Yeah. Okay, so again, rejecting from it, but I think this will end up being what pumps us here. I could be wrong. The reason I think this will cleanly deliver, like I said before, we don't have any inversion gaps here on the 1 minute. Not even on the 3 minute. Not even on the 5 minute. So I think this will be clean. If you guys want another TP, this is another option right here. So we have a 5 minute fair value gap. But if this ends up inversing, I mean, then this is going to push much higher. So I think that this PM session is going to end up delivering up to this buy side right here. Gun to my head. I think we'll have a little bit of a hiccup right here. And if we do, then yeah, we'll go down. And then maybe we'll get another setup later. I tried explaining to my uncle that the market was ran by an algorithm because he questioned why I left my job. I showed him perfect examples and everything, and he still wouldn't believe me. What I have found, Tristan, is that it's almost like, what's that book called? I read this book a while ago, but it's about Big Brother. You know, people like can't think for themselves, and they're like Big Brother is watching over them. 1984, I think is the book. People, like, if you're conditioned to believe something for your whole life, even if somebody shows you something in front of your face, it's impossible. Like, they can't even, they refuse to believe it. Also, I mean, to be fair, Tristan, George Orwell, yeah. To be fair, like, you watch this, I watch this every day, and we've done it for years. So eventually the patterns that play out, it becomes too undeniable, right? Um, so like when you see something happen over and over and over and over again, and you're low key a conspiracy theorist, then it definitely changes things. So I'm not gonna lie. So right here on this red candle, so right before the 5 minute fair value gap, I think there's probably gonna be some hiccup in the market. That's my guess right here. And this is from a model I developed myself. Does it always work with 100% accuracy? No. But if we're going to see a rejection here, it's probably going to be here. And my guess is that maybe that drives us down to this gap. And then maybe that drives us up. So again, the fun part is I get to speculate here while a position is already on. This trade, K, was a higher risk play. But it was a set of equal lows here. So I already explained this, but FOMC meeting minutes happens today. So I'm expecting a reversal intraday. That's just something I've learned over time. I know that we're looking for inducement. So I said this earlier in the stream. You can rewind the tape. I said we had a big sell model here, and realistically, what's going to happen is we're going to get a reversal intraday. And where are the targets? This internal high and this internal high. I already took some profits on this. I'm going to leave the runner. Technically, this is a spot where you should be taking profits. But there were perfect equal lows right here, and I basically took a long on the first green candle with a hard stop right below the equal lows, expecting that they were going to leave them and reverse the market. I saw the trade while you were taking that. Oh, okay. This is not my typical model. I said to everyone before I did it that this is a very high risk play. But basically, I'm expecting clean delivery here. And the reason I want it clean is because of the fact that we got no inversions here. So the market should just deliver. So if we get inversion setups down here, the market oftentimes makes it difficult. But because we didn't get any entries, it makes it a lot easier to take a long with clean delivery. Again, I could easily see a reversal from one of these two gaps to rebalance this 1 minute. So I'm actually going to draw this out so you guys can see it. Right here. Whoops. I did not want to move my stop. But this could easily happen. And then we go up. I took it with you because we took news lows from last week into a 1 hour FVG. Yeah, guys, why aren't you liking and subscribing? Come on. I don't know anybody else. Again, I could be wrong. I don't know many other people who can do this in lifetime. And if you know anyone, let me know. Please. Enlighten me. For the 25 people watching this, 8 on YouTube and whatever, I can't count, but whatever the difference is, 17. Give it a like on YouTube. If the algorithm doesn't exist, tell me how I can do this. Tell me. And not financial advice, but if you're in this long and you're chasing this, I would definitely move your stop to break even when this 1 minute fair value gap gets filled, because this could easily reject. So I'm looking at this 1 minute gap right here. $262 on 1 micro. Who gets that? I told you guys it was over a 6 to 1 RR trade. So this is a spot where we could definitely see intraday reversal from. But I don't know. I'm just going to leave the runner. If it goes, it goes. If not, I should probably move my stop higher here. In fact, maybe what I'll do, because I do want to book some 10Ds here. Um, yeah, guys, I'm just going to move my stop up. So I'll book like 240 on this or 330, whatever it is. I'm fully expecting to get stopped out here. But if it does end up delivering cleanly, awesome. So there's a probably 10% chance that we just drive through this, and about a 90% chance I get stopped in profit here. So I'll get to book about $250 per contract, or I don't know what this will be, like 330. Okay, I'm moving my stop higher here. Okay, so I'm guaranteeing myself about $280 per contract. If this ends up sweeping, it'll be even more. And let's see, I'm going to get ready to stop this out, obviously, because if this stops, if my sell stop gets hit, this is not going to cancel, so I have to do it myself. You know, I'll move it a little lower. How about that? So I'll get like 260 here. Just in case this candle holds. I doubt it, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm getting ready to get stopped out here. All right, perfect. Okay, so we booked, I don't know how much money we got on that. Almost $500 on 3 micros. Maybe $400. But I still think this will hit now. Unfortunately, look at that, guys. I got stopped out by a tick there. But good trade. I appreciate you all being here. I hope you learned something from what I just did. Again, the lesson, when there's FOMC meeting minutes or FOMC, look for inducement. If the whole intraday, if the morning was like a complete dump like we had today, pay attention to where liquidity is likely to be generated. In this case, we had perfect equal lows down here, and I was expecting the market to reverse before hitting them, because a lot of people that chase price, they try and short right here, expecting the equal lows to get swept. And it ended up being a huge reversal. And again, I think this buy side is up next, but we'll see. This is a huge 1 hour FEG. Would be funny if they drive right through it and dump it later. I think if they're going to dump the market later, it's going to be obviously after FOMC meeting minutes. So don't expect any moves until later today. If I see anything else, obviously I'll call it. Oh, for sure. I'm not touching the screens. Maybe I'll do another FOMC meeting. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I don't have time for that. But I'll see you guys in the Discord tomorrow and Friday. That's going to be for... What are the 2 news events? They're big ones. Oh, it's Jackson Hole. So I'm expecting big market movement. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you guys being here. And I will catch you in the Discord and then catch you tomorrow and Friday.